Well, good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock of February 22nd, 2021, and we're going to start with a workshop for the HOPWA request for proposals. Today we are here with Alexander Jorge, who's going to help me with the technical, any technical issues, and Ms. Christine Bermudez, our public information officer, who is also in charge of disseminating much of this information as well. So to start with the RFP process, many of you, whoever is new to this RFP process, they can find the link to the RFP through the Department of Housing and Community Development webpage. You can visit us by going to miamigov.com and type in community development all together. And you'll find our homepage for the Department of Housing and Community Development. All you have to do is you go to current events, and these are the links for the RFPs. This time around, we're going to go and check the HOPWA RFP link. There's the details of the RFP. And here in the middle, you'll find a button, which is the Apply by Zoom Grants. Zoom Grants is a third-party software that we utilize as the avenue for you to submit the RFPs electronically, digitally, online. So we're going to click here. But before we do that, there's also a link here for information on Zoom Grants. And this is important because here you'll find more information as to how you have to log in, how to create the application. And these are the things that we're going to go and visit today. And how to submit the application also has some frequently asked questions. And very important, at the end, you have a line with the contact information for Zoom Grant in case you're finding technical difficulties in filling out the application. And there has to be a distinction between what technical difficulties are versus what programmatic questions are. And technical difficulties will be anything that have to do with actually having issues with the system itself. Like for instance, like if the screen gets frozen, it doesn't save, or you're having issues uploading files, that kind of thing, you have to call them directly. If you have questions regarding programmatic things that you need to know before you apply, those questions you can either let us know at the end of this presentation, or you can also send me an email, and we'll discuss that a little bit later with that question so that everybody can get an answer to any of the questions that you may have while filling out the RFP. So going back to this page, what we will do here is access Zoom Grants by going through this button, Apply via Zoom Grants. So if I click there, it will take me to this screen where I'll find, based on that link, the available RFPs for you to apply. Currently, we have 2 RFPs. On Friday, we had a workshop dealing directly with the CDBG Public Service Economic Development and ESG RFP. And today we're dealing with the HOPWA request for proposals. In order for you to be able to apply, the number one thing you have to do is create a new Zoom Grants account. If you have participated in this process in the past, you will be able to use that same Zoom Grants account that you created a few years ago and utilize it. If you already have an an account, I strongly suggest you use the same email account you created before, because in that way you will be able to find some of the previous RFPs that you have submitted on behalf of your agency. One of the things before I continue, I just wanted to let you know that this application is for Miami-Dade County, not only for the city of Miami, but it goes all the way to county boundaries. And also that you are being, currently we are being recorded, as this presentation will be available on YouTube, on the City of Miami YouTube channel, a few days after this presentation is over. Hopefully tomorrow, but we will see. Okay, so once you have used your account to sign in or follow the steps to create a new Zoom Grants account, if you've never used this, you are able to log in. So I already put here my personal account information, and I will sign into the actual, my actual profile. And now I am able to apply from here. So now I'm going to concentrate on the HOPWA request for proposal. Once we get to this screen, you can check apply. Okay. Did I press the wrong one? No, here it is. Okay, so we are in the right place. So it says, thank you, your application has been created. You may get started now. So this is technically the application itself. And the creation of the application should only happen once. I've noticed that there are some agencies who have started a number of applications, I believe because they did not, or they forgot how to create applications. Because once you create one application, that application is going to stay in your profile. There are agencies that I've seen like 3 or 4 or 5 times applying for the same thing. And my theory obviously is that they didn't know that it stayed in their profile, so they started creating new applications. Or perhaps there's multiple people from the same organization creating applications. So please keep in mind, one application is all you need. And once you create it, it's going to stay in your profile until you submit it. So I'm going to close this for now so that I can show you the application. So this is the application itself, right? We have different tabs here. The tabs are going to help you navigate through the application. Number one, the one thing that I recommend before anything, before you apply, read the introduction, the purpose, and the RFP timeline, because it's very important, okay? One of the things here is it's extremely important because this gives you directions as to how to submit the RFP and when, right? The virtual workshop is taking place today. And let me see here. And this is, we'll have to update this because the workshop is actually taking place today at 2:22. However, this doesn't change. The response to written questions will be posted on March 1st, 2021. So today is the 22nd. You can submit written questions in the case that you forget to ask the question today. You can submit the written questions up until the 25th of February. And how do you submit those written questions? You have to send me an email. Okay. My email address is right here. And you can submit any questions that are programmatic in nature to me, and I will be posting those responses so that everybody has the same possibility of looking and reviewing that specific question. And it's going to be posted online on our website on 3/1/2021. Okay. So again, the question you can't expect to receive a direct response to a programmatic question. However, the question or the answer will be posted on our website on 3/1/2021. Okay, so that is the introduction. Now also, you need to read the conditions, the reservations, and general liability policy for this RFP so that you know what you're applying for and what are the rules and regulations regarding this RFP. Then also we have here the requirements and the contract terms, just to let you know that this RFP is valid for 1 year that starts on October 1st, 2021 and ends on September 30th, 2022 with an option to renew the contract, provided that they're in good standing with the City of Miami and performing the services as required for an additional 1 year period. So the next RFP is not going to be open until about the same time, January, February of 2023. Okay, so I leave all these requirements and contract terms for you to review at your own time. And here we start with the actual application. There's some documents that we've uploaded into this Zoom Grants application, and those are in the resource tab. You're going to have the block group map for the city for Miami-Dade County as far as the different areas that we have for the tenant-based rental assistance service. You have the tenant-based rental assistance, housing specialist, and HQS inspection services, detailed specs, the project-based detailed specs, the STRMU detailed specs, technical assistance detailed specs, the evaluation and appeals overview, where it tells you how is it the city is going to evaluate your RFP submission. And also, if you were not to be awarded, how can you appeal that decision? Let me rephrase that. If you are not meeting, or if your RFP did not meet the minimum requirement as far as points to be able to qualify for the next stage, which is technically a process by which some recommendations are made. If your RFP did not meet the minimum threshold criteria, then you can appeal for an overview. If your RFP did meet the minimum qualification criteria, however, is not recommended, that is not an appealable situation. Then we have also the HOPWA service zone maps, the insurance coverage requirements that are required to enter into a contract or an agreement with the city of Miami. The 2019 HIV/AIDS housing gap analysis for your reference, and also a link to the 5-year consolidated plan 2019 and 2023. So I'm going to hide the resources, and now this is where the application starts. Okay, so I'm going to make an application. I'm going to go very briefly through these fields, as most of you already are familiar with this application process. For those of you who are not, it will still be good enough, because most of the application is self-explainable, and these fields are made in a way that you won't have many questions to ask. So let's say that I'm going to put an application name. As you go through these applications or fields, these application fields, the system will automatically save. So there's no save button in this software. So let's say that I'm going to be requesting $100,000 for the management and of housing specialists and HQS services. And leverage funding is obviously better for your agency if you have leverage funding from other sources that are going to contribute toward this program. And it may not necessarily be contributing toward the salaries or the direct costs associated with this contract, but it could be something that you receive funding for that is sort of complementing this program. If it provides case management funding, if it provides other supporting service funding, so that's also part of leveraging of a more rounded HOPWA delivery program. So let's say that I'm getting $50,000 to provide for some sort of case management. Okay, so that will be my program, my name, my company, my address, which I must have already entered at the time that I set up my account, telephone number, fax number, my website, my executive director, their email, and this field here at the bottom is made so that you can enter the email address of collaborators. And why is this important? Is because if we were to have updates or anything or any communication that we wanted to share with you, we will be sharing it with you and also with the collaborators that you enter here. So everybody, if there's other people in your staff or other people in your organization that is assisting you in filling out this application, because it has different sections, then those folks will also be getting the emails or any notices that we send. Okay, so now we can go next. So here you'll see that there's 5 different tabs, and you can also, go through these tabs, and you go through the different sections of the applications. Now, these are the actual application questions, and depending on what you're going to be applying for, the questions may vary slightly, but they may vary. So let's say in this case, I'm applying for tenant-based rental assistance, and there's a note here that the maximum available per agency is $460,000. Now, the $460,000 in this instance is to pay for the direct cost of running the program, okay, which is mainly salary staffs, rent, utilities, and other things that are necessary to run this program. Now, there's a small difference between this 460 and the 400,000, because the 400,000 is the total available for the STRMU, which includes the rental assistance and the utility payments and the mortgage payments. If I'm not mistaken, the maximum that an agency can apply for direct cost for this program is about $55,000. So I think it's a little bit less, but it's in the neighborhood of the $55,000. And the rest, because it will be $55,000 of direct cost, and the rest, which is like $345,000 for the actual payments that need to be done on behalf of the client. Project base, it will be reviewed on a case-to-case basis, depending on the project, the number of units. But there is a flat fee for project-based units that we will be paying, which we do not pay rent assistance, we pay for operating support. So there's a flat fee for each unit that is provided of operating support that the program will pay for. And last but not least, we have technical support to the department, which the maximum available is $25,000. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be applying for tenant-based rental assistance. I said that I was going to request $100,000. Okay. Was your organization funded for this service? And I'm going to say, yes, I was funded in this current year, but now we're applying for next year. Your organizational capacity, this is up to you. You have to explain all this. And I just want you to keep in your head these numbers: 1C, PB 1A, 1D, okay? Likewise, very straightforward question: how many years your organization have been providing this service? Likewise, 1B, PB 1B. Okay, and PB is project-based. Project-based 1B is STRMU 1B. TBRA STRMU 1C, project-based 1A and 1D. Okay, so here's is what your narrative, right? This is technically what you're going to explain to us, all your fiscal management and control, so that whoever the reviewer is can read, understand, and make sense out of what you're saying, and give you the points, whether it's full points for your description, or if they feel that it's lacking, maybe they give you partial credit, or they can give you 0 because you are not really addressing the question. Now, this field is limited to 6,000 characters, and characters meaning a letter. As you see, as I start typing, that is start going down. All right, so let me erase this. All these questions are very straightforward. It's up to you to respond in the manner in which you believe you can better describe your argument to the reviewer of why you need to be funded. So here I'm going to put total operating budget for your organization versus HOPWA requested. So let's say my organization is a $250,000. I expect to have $250,000, including the funding that I'm requesting, and I'm requesting the 100,000. So here's the total, the total budget for the organization, regardless of program. And here is the amount that I'm requesting for the HOPWA program. Okay, so if you are currently a provider of services, have you ever had a previous audit monitoring finding with the city? If that was the case, then you'll have to say yes, and then you have to explain what have you done to be able to remediate that finding. Describe your organization's ability to meet program expenses for how many months in advance of reimbursement. Remember that this is the city of Miami works on a reimbursement basis, which means that whatever amount is that you pay your suppliers or your salaries of your employees, that you're going to have to carry for that cost for at least 1 month, and at time which you're going to be submitting your reimbursement. And we will reimburse you for those expenditures. So at least 30 days will be required so that you can meet payroll and other utilities, payments, rent, what have not, whatever it is that you are requesting from us. And then we will reimburse you for those payments. Now, it all obviously depends on how soon or how quickly you submit those reimbursement packages to us. So keeping in mind that we will also take about 14 days to be able to make that payment out to your agency. So if we're talking, as to how long, I would probably think is between a month to a month and a half that your organization has to be able to meet program expenses in advance of reimbursement. So here's a narrative for understanding of need. Soundness of your service approach, your staffing levels that you'll be applying for running the tenant-based rental assistance program, the areas that you are going to be able to serve as far as the clientele that you're planning to have, other measures identified to track clients and evaluate program outcomes. Very straightforward. All these are questions that you'll be able to answer, hopefully. And here, this last block is for you to add any other comments or additional explanations for the questions above. Because like I said, these are limited to 6,000 characters. And while you're explaining this, you might run out of space or characters. So you can use this bottom field to add additional comments. Okay, and that's it. Let's go to the next. Now we're talking about budget, right? So HOPWA funding, we say we're going to put 100,000 of HOPWA funding. If you're receiving other federal programs, and I say that I think I said $50,000 more somewhere, and I say, okay, I'm receiving $50,000 from state sources, and that is my operating budget for my program. Okay. The budget form 2 is the salary forecast for your staff and the fund allocation with a line item, right? And here you have different standard line item costs, and you can obviously add here or modify existing ones. If you don't have more space, you can actually delete this, and you can, put anything else that you want, anything else. And it will automatically save it. Okay, it's again very self-explanatory. Let me see here. Okay. So we go to the next, and technically we're staying the same. So let me click again. Next. There we go. All right. So now these are the required documents that need to be submitted with the RFP. As you can see, require is highlighted in yellow, which means that if you do not upload anything in this for this specific item, you will not be able to submit your RFP. Okay, again, if you do not upload a document on those required fields, you will not be able to submit your RFP. So let's go through these items to see what you need to do. Okay, so this is very self-explanatory. Charter, articles of incorporation, bylaws, you are a 501c3. So therefore you have to make sure that you submit that information, and everything needs to be uploaded. Okay, State of Florida current year corporate registration certificate, income tax returns for last completed fiscal year, address and professional affiliations for all members of the board of directors, organizational chart, job descriptions. Okay, all this stuff is within your agency world. Now here, these are required forms for the city of Miami. So all these forms have been already placed here. You can see them that there's a download template, and you have to click on these red links. I'm going to click on that to open that form. So it has been downloaded to my computer already. If I were to open the file, the form is here with me now. So obviously I will fill out all this information. You'll have, your organization's representative, the person who is authorized to sign the contract, needs to sign here, okay? And then you have to date it, and then you have to upload it, right? Now, if you have a digital signature, certainly you can utilize that to put it here, save this same file because it's already a PDF file. And then you can just use that file to upload into the system. Now, if you do not have a digital signature, you have to print this form, you have to sign the form, you have to scan the form so that you can convert it into a digital PDF format, and then you'll be able to upload it into the system, okay? So in order to upload, right, I'll click in there, and this is what I get. I can put the file description, let's put articles of incorporation. I will upload this file, and remember this, there's a file limitation of 4 megabytes each, so it's not that big. So keep that in mind. I'm going to choose a file. I'm just going to choose some file from here. Boom. Let's pretend that this is the authorized representative statement. And this is 39 kilobytes. Open. Okay, and then I'm going to upload it. Okay, your file has been uploaded. You can test the link to your document, then close this window now. So I can open, and that's the actual document I uploaded. Right, it has nothing to do with the authorized representative statement, but I just wanted to make sure that you can see the process of uploading a file. Okay, so it says here that it will be uploaded when this is refreshed. If I want to refresh this, kick me out. No, this is a mistake. You see, I was going to apply again, but that's a mistake. You cannot apply again. You already have the application here. You have to come to this side. It says archive, and this is my application. Right? Many of you have done apply again, so it will create another application, and that's not the right way of doing it. So I'm going to hide everything again. And I'm going to go to my required documents. And as you can see here, this document has already been uploaded. If you uploaded the wrong document, you can come here and delete it. Now, I mentioned PDF, but you can see here all the forms that are allowed. All these extensions, these file extensions are allowed for you to upload. But the preferred form is a PDF. Okay, now, like I said, PDFs of 4 megabytes, which are not that large. So one of the things that you may want to do, you can go to online application. If your file is too long or too large, right, it exceeds the 4 megabytes. There's so many free PDF converters. You see, now if you have, obviously, if you have PDF converter that is directly from Adobe Acrobat, obviously use that. Is the best thing to do. But if you don't have Adobe Acrobat Pro, let's say, and you just have the reader, what you can do is you can come here and you can drop your files here, and this will convert it into a smaller file. It compresses the PDF so that it will make it the size that we need for you to be able to submit that document. Now, I went to small PDF, but it's not the only option available. There are other options are there to compress PDFs. It's just a matter of looking for them. Okay, so let's go back to the application. So all of these have templates. And like I said, if you don't have a digital signature, you have to download the template, print the template, sign the template. You can fill it out in your computer because it has fillable fields. But then you have to sign the template, scan the template, and then upload the template so that you can submit your file. Okay. Now, like I said, some of the files are just way too big. Now, let's just say that you have a personnel policies and procedures manual that is just very big. So you will not be able to, no matter how much you try, you will not be able to make it small enough to be able to submit it. So in this case, if it's too large, you can submit, let's say, the first 2 or 3 pages with a note saying that the file is too large. In that way, whoever reviews the file, if they need to see the personal policies and procedural manual, they can contact you so that they can get the printed copy from you. Okay, or maybe we can arrange to get it in a USB drive or whichever way. However, if you do not do that, you will not be able to submit your RFP, because the fact that your file is too large is not going to meet the requirement of uploading something. There has to be something here uploaded. If not, you will not be able to submit your RFP. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so you'll send your single audit report if applicable. Let me see here. This is only applicable to project-based funding proposals. And you'll see that because there's different programs in the HOPWA RFP, please pay attention to these parentheses, because this will tell you if you're applying for a project-based funding, then you need to download this template and fill it out, right? If you are applying for STRMU assistance, then you have to download this template and fill it out and obviously upload it. If you do not do that, let's say you do not submit this for a project-based funding, then you run the risk of your application not being reviewed at all. So because it's part of the requirements of this submission, even though it's not placed here as required, because like I said, there's so many programs, and if we put this field here required, then the people who are applying for tenant-based rental assistance or applying for STRMU will also have to submit something in there, which technically has nothing to do with them. So that's why it doesn't say required, but it is in fact required. This is required for the project-based funding. This is required for project-based funding. This is required for tenant-based and STRMU proposals. This is required for STRMU proposals, and so forth. Okay. Now, remember that I told you to keep in mind some numbers that these questions had, and I'm going to go back. Like this ones, right? TBRA and STRMU 1C, project-based 1A, 1D. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that we're giving you a cheat sheet, and technically on the resources, and let's just go to the TBRA since we're making a TBRA application. I'm going to open these detailed specs, right? And when I open this, let me actually take it out of here for a second. Because I want to show you something. Okay, so what I have here is the Tbra specs. So, it gives you an explanation of the things that we expect from you. But at the end of that document, you have the rating sheet. This is the exact rating sheet that the reviewers and the raters are going to be utilizing to rate your RFP. And here, when it says, organizational capacity, whatever is you write here, you're going to be rated under the Tbra 1C, right? So if I go 1C, demonstrate a strong fiscal management controls, right? Describe organizational fiscal management controls. So whatever is that you enter here, the rater is going to give you the points right here. And the whole RFP works in that similar manner, so that you already know, sort of speaking, because the way that you understand your RFP doesn't mean that the rater is going to understand the same way. So I always say, when you write down your narratives, to have somebody else read it, somebody else who does not do what your job responsibilities are, doesn't really understand how the program works. So in that way, they can actually tell you, okay, this makes sense, or it's like, no, this completely makes no sense whatsoever. You're probably going to get a 0. That's a good way of kind of like knowing how many points you're going to get before you actually submit your RFP, or before you actually get the scoring from us, because you already know how we're going to score you. Okay. So the maximum points available are 110, and you have to score a minimum of 85 in order for you to be able to be considered for funding. Everybody that scores over 85 will be considered from funding. It doesn't mean that you're going to get funded. There's no, let's say, points do not mean necessarily that you will be funded. Some people might score 110 and not get funded. Why? Because there's other entities that have already been providing services that also scored either 110 or a little bit less, or less, period. But they still made it through the scoring criteria. So when you fill out the RFP, please be watchful, because this is how we will be scoring you. Okay, let me get out of here. Okay, and that's technically the full RFP. After this, you will be able to press this button. Let's see. Oh, look, I pressed the button, and it's telling me some fields are missing answers. So all these things need to be corrected before I can actually submit. So it's very intuitive. You will be able to know what is missing. When it says require documents requested, again, you have to look at these requirements. You have to upload a file. If not, this warning is not going to be eliminated, and you will not be able to submit your RFP. And that's it. I mean, that is it. Now, Alex, actually, right now will be the time for the Q&A, the questions and answers. So if anybody has a question, please raise your hand through the Zoom application, and Alex will help me out with allowing you to have access to your microphone, so that we can address your question. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, gonna go ahead and have one person, Carrie. She has a question. I'm gonna go ahead and open her up so she can speak. Okay, she just needs, Carrie, you need to unmute your, okay, looks like you did.
Hi, this is actually Sandra Newson. I'm on with Carrie. We're from Carrefour Supportive Housing. My question relates to just the administrative login. If I'm listed as a collaborator, not the administrator. If I switch it, will I lose the history of our previous applications?
Well, that I do not know. That's a question that you need to contact Zoom Grants, because that's of a technical nature. and they'll
Okay.
be able to give you the right answer.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Yes, I have Christine Stroy Martin. Okay, you need to unmute, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Hi, I have a couple of questions. So on question 5, where it asks about how long an agency has been doing the work. Can you answer a question based on the experience of staff as opposed to the agency? So let's say the agency hasn't done it, but you have staff that's been doing it for has done it for like 15 to 20 years.
If you have staff that has actually worked on it, of course, we would like to count that experience. It's not necessarily just the agency itself, but obviously the people that work within the agency that can actually bring that experience to your program.
Okay, awesome. I have another question. When it asks for, I think it has to do with one of the forms, and it asks for the information for the last completed fiscal year. But like our fiscal year just ended in December, so our audit and stuff won't be done until probably April or May. Is it okay to put in the audit from the 2019 year, since that's the last one that was completed?
Let me ask you a question. Because we are requesting a single audit, but the single audit is only applicable if you expended more than $750,000 of federal dollars.
All right, so then we have an audit, but we don't have a single audit. So that would just be not applicable to us then.
Correct.
Okay, and then my last question is related to STRM-U. And I know what the program is. However, we've noticed that there is a big need in the transgender community for these types of funds. Is it all right to in the proposal propose to do a set aside of a percentage of the funds for a special population, or is it just open, first come, first serve?
The way that the program is currently designed is open to everybody. If that subpopulation can certainly apply for those funds, but we are not expecting any agency to reserve the STRM-U funding for a subpopulation. Everybody is eligible. Currently, the city of Miami HOPWA program has a very large STRM-U program, so I would not think that a subpopulation will have any issues applying. One of the things, however, I want to clarify is that if you are applying for multiple categories, say tenant-based rental assistance or STRM-U or public project-based or technical assistance for that matter, each one of those have to have a separate RFP submission.
Right, that I understood. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, currently I don't see anyone else that has any questions.
Okay, last chance for anybody who may have a question. Okay, countdown. There you go.
Okay, please unmute yourself.
Can you tell us how to retrieve kind of the rule break that you just showed us again?
How to retrieve it? How to retrieve what? I'm sorry?
The rule break.
The rules.
Of how everything is correct.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen right now. So when you actually get to your account, it's going to tell you, the different applications that you have available. In this case, as I show in the example, I have already created an RFP. So I will go here, HOPWA RFP. I have this RFP currently open, undergoing, not finalized yet. It says here incomplete. And the first thing you'll see is that you're going to see everything that has to do with the RFP. The introduction, the conditions, reservations, everything is there. And then at the bottom of the page, you'll find the actual RFP. However, because it's way way down, you can actually hide those things, and then you can get to the actual RFP, but they're here. They're in these tabs. Okay. And these are the open programs. I can go to my RFP. And these are the tabs. I can hide them, I can show them. And here's the actual application. Okay. Any other question? All right, countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much for attending today. Again, if you have questions after this is over, okay, there was a question, but if you have any other questions after this is over, please do not forget that under the introduction, purpose, and RFP timeline, my email address is there, so you can submit any written questions that you may have up until February 25th. The response to the written questions will be posted on our website on March 1st, 2021, if there's any. Okay, so thank you very much for participating in today's workshop, and I wish you the best of luck on your RFP submission. Thank you.